At last, your town is our town. Yvonne Zanos and Paul Long spent the day with you last Thursday, but because of the passing of Art Rooney Sr. on that day, we waited until today to celebrate Altoona, and Yvonne is here to tell us that there is a lot to celebrate in Altoona.
There really is, Jim. There is lots and lots going on in Altoona down in Blair County, Pennsylvania. The town gets its name from the Cherokee Indians. Altoona means highlands of great worth. It's a 2-hour drive due east, but we took the shortcut down, straight over those highlands by helicopter. You know you're just about there when you see the world-famous Horseshoe Curve, built back in the 1800s so steam engines could cross the Alleghenies. Today it is a national landmark and paves the way to the old railroading town of Altoona, home to one of the best railroad museums in Pennsylvania. Here you can travel back to the days when the railroader was king in America. Whether your passion is steam, electric, or diesel, you'll see it all here in Altoona.
I am a railroader's daughter, the daughter-in-law of a railroader. Anyone who lived in Altoona, your life could not be, you couldn't live here without your life being touched by the railroad.
The railroad is still pretty much #1. The railroad is king here. There's mom and apple pie, but in Altoona there's the railroad.
It was the railroad that brought prosperity to this town and made Altoona one of the main stops on the entertainment circuit. It was a stop George Burns remembers well.
I love Altoona. When I first started in show business, I was pretty bad. I was booked to play 3 days in Altoona. I was doing a singing act. Monday morning, I was rehearsing my songs. The manager heard me sing and canceled me. I was the only act in show business who was canceled before he opened. But I still love Altoona.
But trains are more than the key to Altoona's past. They are very much a part of this town today. The railroad is still this town's #1 employer, but today the railroad shares this town with scores of other industries. From the Puritan knitting mills to Butterick Patterns, from the assembly lines of the Boyce Candy Company to the very first sheep store. There are now over 120 in 3 states. Altoona is one very busy town. And although Paul is on vacation today, he was in Altoona Thursday and followed in the footsteps of 4 presidents as he walked down the corridor of one of the most luxurious railroad trains ever built. This is the Loretto, built back in 1917 for steel magnate Charles Schwab. And again, this is just one of many thrills waiting for railroad enthusiasts down in Altoona. And again, we want to thank folks in Altoona for their hospitality on Thursday, and we'll have lots more in Altoona coming up in this show and again tonight at 6.
I love old trains, and I'm going to see that museum.
You really should.
Today, Altoona, your town is our town. Yvonne Zanos and Paul Long headed east today to Blair County, Pennsylvania. It's a town that gets its name from the Cherokee Indian word Altoona, meaning highlands of great worth. Yvonne Zanos tells us that Altoona is a 2-hour drive from Pittsburgh, but she and Paul took a shortcut. They went by helicopter.
When you see that train rounding the world-famous Horseshoe Curve, you know you're near Altoona, a town so tied to the railroad that at one time folks say you couldn't tell the town from the railroad that ran through it.
The railroad meant everything to Altoona years ago because they built the town.
I am a railroader's daughter, the daughter-in-law of a railroader. Anyone who lived in Altoona, your life could not be, you couldn't live here without your life being touched by the railroad.
The railroad is king here. There's mom and apple pie, but in Altoona there's the railroad.
It is the railroad that brought this town its prosperity and made Altoona a main stop on the entertainment circuit, a stop George Burns never forgot.
I love Altoona. When I first started in show business, I was pretty bad. I was booked to play 3 days in Altoona. I was doing a singing act. Monday morning, I was rehearsing my songs. The manager heard me sing and canceled me. I was the only act in show business who was canceled before he opened. But I still love Altoona.
Although the railroad is still this town's #1 industry, Altoona is no longer a one-industry town. The first sheep store started right here in this corner in Altoona. Today there are 123 stores in 3 states. And here at the Butterick Company, they make over 56 million Vogue and Butterick patterns a year.
And if you've ever eaten a mallow cup, well, it was made
right here in Altoona. Here at the Boyer Candy Company, they turn out 650,000 a day, minus one or maybe two. But some of Altoona's success stories are unique to this town alone. 82-year-old Ernie Wissinger heads a multi-million-dollar five-store grocery chain, but you'll still find him packing groceries for his customers.
We don't put any lunch meat down in the bottom. Did you ever get lunch meat that was smashed?
He's just one of lots of busy folks in Altoona, but as Ernie says, never too busy for each other.
Well, that's what I try to show, that we care for them.
Yvonne Zanos, Channel 4 Action News.
Walk down the aisle of one of the most luxurious railroad cars ever built, the Loretto, a private rail car built back in 1917 for steel magnate Charles Schwab. This is just one of the many cars and railroad memorabilia pieces on display at the Altoona Railroaders Memorial Museum, one of the finest railroad museums in the state. And if you're a railroad enthusiast, folks in Altoona invite you to come on down and share their history. It's quite a treat.
You are, aren't you?
Oh, yes. I like airplanes a little better.
Oh, okay. Susan Davies has the 5-day forecast next on Action News.